Per usual, living on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. Let's take a look at some altcoins for What Could Go Wrong Wednesday, the original name of this themed segment of the week. If we look at what's up in the past week, this is Coin360. I just like this because you can sort out stablecoins and you can denominate them in Bitcoin and look at weekly performance, whatever. And it kind of gives you a good idea that we've had some coins popping off here, some laggards picking up, some strong performers continuing, like Sol, some alt DeFi stuff picking up, some exchange tokens picking up. So alt's broadly doing pretty well as Bitcoin consolidates here at this level. My personal allocation viewpoint is I don't want to be allocated into alts and miss whatever the potential ETF announcement rally is going to be. If you're under the assumption that we'll be getting some positive ETF news here, at least in the next 2 months, probably in the next couple weeks, we probably should see a massive move in Bitcoin on that day. So I don't want to miss that. That isn't to say you can't be allocated and trade this, obviously, because you can. But anyway, so a lot of stuff doing well. We'll take a look at it. Start with dominance. Dominance has reached its target, I guess you could say. You know, with anything, you take the depth of a consolidation and you measure it with fib extensions, and it gives you a number. And most of the time, that's where the market either reconsolidates or reverses. If it's continuation, it'll consolidate and move further, or it'll get denied, smack down, and find a support lower and potentially lead to continuation later on. And I think that's probably where we're at here with Bitcoin. Again, if you are in the camp that we will get an ETF, it will be announced before the end of the year, and we're going to get a crazy, insane day for Bitcoin, expect dominance to just blow out of the water, right? Like dominance could go to 70 on that day, you know, something insane. It would be one of the biggest wicks that you'd ever see on a chart like this, but completely possible. In the moment it has slowed down, we are seeing this alt wealth effect. We are seeing narratives and partnerships and yada yada on various coins. I get it, right? But just from a pure technical perspective, even though this is reaching its logical conclusion on the target side, this could be leading into a bullish dominance picture for Bitcoin in 2024. If you take this to the next logical conclusion from the cloud side, you know, once we're above the weekly cloud, we should see continuation. We should see follow through if technicals apply to dominance, which is kind of a fool's errand, but it's kind of fun also, you know, just put TI on anything, see what you get. Here's a different look at dominance in a sense that it's just the alt BTC pair. So it's kind of the opposite of dominance, the inverse of dominance, if you will. I took out stables for this as well, and still below the diagonal trend line. You know, this doesn't help you in the near term because in the near term, like I said, a bunch of alts have been doing extremely well in the past week, up 20% plus. You're not necessarily going to see that on this type of index. This type of index might tell you when alts start to outperform broadly. So we're not quite seeing that just yet, but we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. If we look at total 3 minus stables minus wrapped Bitcoin, total 3 is the market cap of everything without Bitcoin, without ETH. This has broken a diagonal resistance trend line, has continued to move higher, approaching what I would consider the logical slowdown target based on horizontal resistance, somewhere between 280 and 310 billion, whatever this is, in market cap. There are many alt charts, maybe most alt charts on the USD pairs that do have this Adam and Eve period from July to present. Some of them have broken out already weeks ago. Some of them are breaking out now. Some of them are lagging. I think collectively, if you're trading that on spot, I mentioned this, I think last week in one of those streams, but if you're trading this on spot and you think this is a cyclical low, as in you don't think we're getting lower lows, you just set a stop loss at the local low and you let it ride, you let it go, you let it do its thing for the next 2 years. Okay, that's one way to treat this. Now, if you're on leverage, I think that's a little different. But if you truly think that this is going to be the bottom in alts, which it could be, let the runners run. You know, set aside some allocation stack and just go wild because you never know. And it's starting to look like most of these alts are ready to start to reverse across the board. That isn't to say they will outperform Bitcoin, but on their USD pairs, they're looking quite bottomy. As far as the stablecoin flows, we are seeing a rise in Tether and a decline in USDC. Still continuously, USDC is just losing the battle here. And Tether is hitting new all-time highs in circulating supply. So on net, we are probably seeing an increase in stablecoin circulating supply within the ecosystem, which is a great measure for liquidity as well. And I think we're seeing some of that trickle through into altcoin prices, obviously. There's been a lot of talk about the Link product today on Grayscale having a significant premium. This is CoinGlass on the Grayscale information page. And if we scroll down here, Sol has a 462%, Link a 220%, and then Filecoin with a crazy 575% premium. I don't know if it's a mix of people not realizing what they're buying or not caring or not having access to spot trading with an IRA account. I don't know what these people are doing, but it's not that hard to spin up a Kraken account. You know, it takes less than a day to move money over there. But this is a testament to maybe the need for spot products in a trustworthy way, because this isn't helping anybody. You know, these premiums are going to destroy a bunch of people eventually, just as they did with Bitcoin and ETH. Those discounts have continued to close, which is good for spot and good for holders of those products as well. If we look at Link, it's definitely been, I think, the strongest today on my list anyway. It's up 11%. A lot of red today. Otherwise, regional banks red, legacy red, crypto equities red for the most part. But Link up considerably, Sol kind of flat on the day. And maybe this is partnership. Maybe this is Grayscale folks buying. Maybe there's some ARB that I'm not aware of. To me, this is reaching its logical conclusion soon as far as likely targets. So if I was trading this on leverage or had a leverage position open, I would start to get nervous here. It's up 200% since the low. That isn't to say it can't double from here, because it can. We've seen stranger things. If you're holding spot like I am, I don't care. You know, let it run to 20 or 10. I don't care. And this isn't like a short-term trade for me, but if it doesn't pause at 1450, 1730, 1830, you know, that's maybe the next spot where you'd look to reduce based on technicals. If we look at the volume profile on the way up, there isn't a lot of resistance. Maybe 1550 is the next logical volume resistance node, but it's definitely had quite a run. And this is why you pay attention to this stuff, like many people were before it broke out, right? When you have this tight consolidation for a year plus, like I say, the table is set. GME, AMC, same thing. You know, you can't really run those charts like you could have otherwise if they hadn't been ranging for so long, right? This is the Link product again, just to illustrate the craziness in the premium here. You know, eventually people are going to end. This is going to end in tears for somebody, but this is what you're buying. You know, Link per share, you're buying 0.93 Link per share. As far as Sol also looks fine, looks good from a trend perspective, from a target perspective. It's probably there based on the previous consolidation. From a cycle low perspective, from a trend perspective, it probably has plenty of room left in it. I'm not worried about it from that perspective, and continues to look like it's going to be totally fine. You know, from a support level, I'd watch anything from 30 to 33. For Link, I would watch 950. You know, if Link had a negative 50% day, I don't think anybody would bat an eye at that based on how much it's been up in the past couple months. And then this is the Sol Grayscale products. You're getting 0.38 Sol per share. So, you know, hey, look, as long as you know what you're buying, I don't care, but I'm just letting you know. Kind of an interesting picture over there with the Grayscale products. ETH still just stuck in the mud, hasn't done much. It's above the daily cloud. It's above the VPVR profile. It's still below the $2,000 psychological resistance, still below the 1990 yearly pivot, and still within the ascending triangle. If I had that chart, I don't, but there is an ascending triangle here, obviously. I do think this will move. Eventually, it might take a Bitcoin ETF announcement to get it to break 2K, but from 2K, I do like a move to 3K. So I think ETH will get the last laugh here eventually, and you'll start to see it finally catch up to Sol and Link and all these other coins that have start to move on without ETH. ETH BTC, no new comments here. Still weak, still bearish, still likely to break down eventually, and no bull div on the RSI here. Eventually, I like 037. Again, that's just based on flows. That isn't a statement on one network being better than the other, but we all know that Bitcoin's the better network. I mean, let's be honest. ADA. And this is where we start to wade into the Adam and Eve territory on both low and high time frames. Adam and Eve is just a V and a U, a type of double bottom. It's got a larger type of double bottom Adam and Eve here as well. And if you think all that is nonsense, well, it's above a trend metric, the cloud on the 3-day. So also from a cycle perspective, this is the best it's looked since 2021, right? It's finally back above resistance. If this does have a multi-month run, the weekly cloud is at $1.69 up there. Matic also very similar, has a shorter time frame, near-term multi-month Adam and Eve that it's honestly pretty textbook here. Here's your V and here's your U. It's breaking into the 3-day cloud. It's got this larger, similar to ADA, Adam and Eve. It even had a bull div at the bottom, which doesn't help you now, obviously, but in the future, something to look for. You're getting lower lows on less momentum. So I like this to $1.10, $1.15, and then figure it out from there. Certainly the best it's looked in quite some time. Matic on the BTC pair even has found some strength, started to reverse as Bitcoin's remained flat, held the June 22 low, kind of similar to ETH BTC, broken out of this downward channel and started to find strength again. I don't think this will be long lived. I think it has this short window like all these alts do, where Bitcoin's sideways and quiet. But from a cloud perspective, this could run up to the key June here on the 3-day at around 2,700 sats. So it does look like it has some strength left in it. AAVE on the USD pair, continuing to monitor this one. It also is showing strength. It's above the 3-day cloud. It's the best it's looked in years. It has a similar fractal to Maker. There are many DeFi coins, again, that look like this. Adam and Eve, double bottom, breaking above trend metrics for the first time in a long time. So for AAVE, the next pit stop for me would be 120 to 135 on the USD pair. SNX, kind of this pre-breakout. Again, Adam and Eve, multiple double bottom attempts here. Similar to AAVE, in a sense, similar to Maker as well. Best it's looked since early 2021. So that chart also looks very good to me. From a target perspective, probably something between 350 and 5, something around there. You know, any one of these local highs would be the next stop up in the near term. Also, from a cycle perspective, could be a cyclical bottom as well. Last week I asked you fine folks listening for some coins for me to look at, and the remainder of the coins on this video are those coins. So if you have anything you want me to look at specifically, just let me know in the comments of this video. ZRX, high time frames, much like SNX, much like many coins in DeFi. I don't want to say most, but many coins in DeFi. Multiple double bottom attempts above the 3-day cloud. Looks okay. Again, this could be a cyclical low for all of these coins. And the next logical step, if that is the case, would be a 50% retrace across the board. Whatever that is from the low to the all-time high for most of these coins. For ZRX, it's probably somewhere between $1 and $1.30. You know, something up here is where I would let any of these runners run if they get to those levels. GRT, the graph, same thing. Multiple bottoming types of fractals down here, starting to get above the 3-day cloud. I like 0.28 in the near term. That would be a 2x on that chart. Melon, which is a DeFi treasury management protocol. This is a token for that. Definitely on the weaker end of the charts I'm looking at today as far as strength. Still not above trend metrics at all. You know, maybe trying to bottom here. Has somewhat of a bull div on RSI, I checked, but I like this better above 20. So maybe a late cycle rotation. This is Monero, obviously the privacy layer 1 coin, similar to ETH in a sense, in that it's got overhead resistance here. It's got a multi-month ascending triangle. In the near term, if this breaks out, which it should, I like 220, 240. Could be a multi-month bottom, a cyclical bottom for Monero. The problem with Monero is just it's not listed in a lot of places for privacy reasons. It's gotten a lot of regulatory heat. It's very good at what it does, and that's a problem from a listings perspective for exchanges globally. Sia coin, again, many double bottom attempts here over multiple months. From a range perspective, all-time high to local low, multi-year lows. This could be a bottom, right? So this thing could run from under a penny to 4 pennies on the USD pair over multiple months. Realistically, probably after Bitcoin's halving in 2024, alts start to have potentially a USD-based year-long run from 2024 to 2025. Again, I don't expect any of them to outperform Bitcoin over that period of time, but from a cycle perspective, that influx of liquidity into crypto via Bitcoin, via stables, via whatever else, does help all boats in the ecosystem, including alts, right? AAVE looks just okay. It's up a considerable amount, over 2x, I think, here from the bottom, maybe. Had somewhat of a bull div at the bottom as well. Double bottom attempts, it's broke down from its multi-month channel, still far below the 3-day cloud. So I think it's early to call a cyclical bottom on something like this, but it does look good. And maybe a run to 11 from here over the next couple months looks fine. RSI is kind of at infinity here because it's gone from negative infinity to positive infinity in a very short time. So RSI is going to shoot way up there to somewhere around 80. And that's worrisome in the near term. Nano, this is one that hasn't really moved too much in the past weeks, let's say. Probably a double bottom attempt in the making. Similar to 2020, before the 2021 bull runs for a lot of these altcoins, DeFi, everything, DOT, right? A lot of these coins had a multi-month inverted head and shoulders that eventually broke up. And I think now similarly, we're seeing, right, this double bottom attempt kind of everywhere on alts to see if this is the one, right? Is this the time? We've also retraced, in Nano's case, far below the breakout point. So it would be interesting and make sense if Nano had, or any chart that looks like this, a breakout similar to a 2021 breakout eventually, right? So you could say from 71 to $1 and then into 2024, $1 to 350 or something, right? That would be logical from a technical setup perspective to me. Ripple has continued to make higher lows. It's had a decent bounce here. I still see Garlinghouse doing the rounds in DC, trying to convince everybody that, they won the battle and the regulators overstepped their bounds here. Sure, I applaud him for that. Great. But I don't know what Ripple, the network, has done for people other than help Ripple, the business, stay solvent by dumping tokens on retail. From a purely technical perspective, it's in the weekly cloud. This may eventually act as an edge-to-edge move to above $1. I just think there are so many other things you could do with your money, like burn it on fire or throw it out a window. That would be preferable to holding Ripple. And honestly, the same thing with BCH. Even though on trend it looks great, it had a multi-month consolidation period, broke out on reasons not related to fundamentals, just being available for trading on an institutional type exchange, has held its highs. It's not BSV, which is getting delisted on Coinbase. You could probably consider this a cup and handle as well. If you're a BCH believer, right? I've met a couple in real life, interesting folks. But if you're a BCH believer, what you want to see here is this chart to act as a cup and handle and a move above 300 to 575, right? Whatever this pivot to pivot trade may be, would make sense from a technical perspective. I just don't think it has the juice personally, but who am I to stop you? Last one here, Luxo LYX. I know nothing about this token. Technicals, it's had a multi-week-ish bull run. This is the 4-hour, not a lot of trading data. Retrace to the 4-hour Kijun here, kind of reminiscent of an inverted cup and handle, maybe a head and shoulders at the top here as well. So I wouldn't expect anything super bullish super soon for this token. Looks like it wants to reconsolidate here at lows. So overall, alts look good, undeniably. I think they're going to get smacked down when we get some positive news on the ETF front. If you have anything you want me to look at, let me know in the comments below. Or tune in tomorrow to the 2 p.m. EST live stream here on YouTube and let me know what you want me to look at. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.